Hello guys, Andy here with an apology for the quality of the audio in this podcast. I was left in charge and subsequently got the levels completely wrong. We have tried our best to clean it up. Ben has reprimanded me and halved my pay for this month to just a single Mars bar. Again, thanks for listening. And without further ado, here is the Next Gen Basecast. Hello guys and welcome to the Next Gen Basecast. This is episode 209. I am Andy and it has been a while since we've done one of these. Welcome to 2023. We are going to try and do them a little bit more regularly going forwards and actually get some things scheduled in for putting the podcast out. I'm joined this week by Mr. Aaron Sullivan, who you will recognise as one of the regulars from the podcast. How are we doing?
I'm good. I'm all good, sir.
Excellent. Yeah, not too bad. A little bit January out. Can't believe it's February already, but here we go. Time seems to be moving along a little bit too quickly this year, but you know, we'll see what happens. I'm also joined for the first time in quite a while on the podcast by Mr. Jonathan Markwell. How are we doing?
I'm all right. I'm just here to make up numbers, really, aren't I? Because everyone was busy.
Don't put yourself down. You're all right. It's nice to have your company.
Questions, all right? Just like I'm just here to fill up a space on the screen.
We will have your wonderful gaming knowledge and current affairs insight.
You've got questions about Mega Drive games?
No, not on this one. But we might have on future ones. Who knows?
Okay.
Keep coming back. Now, we always start with a what have we been playing? So I'm actually going to go straight to you, Johnny, and ask Jonathan Markwell, what have you been playing?
I think you know this.
I know exactly what you've been playing.
All I've played for the past year is a game called Rocket League.
Not heard of that one. What's it about?
It's been out a while.
Has it?
I play it on the Rocket League machine, or the PS5, as some call it. And it's been out for I think it came out on PS4. 2016, I want to say it came out.
It's been out a long time.
2016.
Yeah.
And it's just I think I've never understood how people just play one game before, but now this is what I do. I just play Rocket League.
So
and I buy cool little cars and stuff, and I get annoyed at people who are better than me.
We did discover a fact the other day that actually I think floored us a bit, that Kieran, lovely Kieran, who joins us on our videos on YouTube, has never played Rocket League, he reckons, which I think is actually a flat-out lie, because I'm sure we've played Rocket League with him. But
I thought Rocket League was a biggie. I thought it was like, I don't know, Destiny or something. I thought everyone had played.
Have you played Destiny?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Oh, you played Destiny, okay.
I'm a gamer, I know things. Yeah.
So basically Rocket League is your life. Rocket League is life for you.
It's great. I watch videos about it on YouTube.
Okay.
I get annoyed about how bad I am. I do the training modes. It's great.
So you've turned into Nico, but instead of Destiny, it's Rocket League.
But I think Nico is good at Destiny, whereas I'm not good at Rocket League.
Well, that does make a difference, doesn't it? If you're actually going to play something as your only game, picking something.
In a way, I hate it because I'm so bad at it, but I also love it. It's like a strange relationship.
So it's basically your form of self-flagellation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Good to know. Sully, what have you been playing recently?
I'm behind the times, and I'm still going through God of War Ragnarok.
You're not as behind the times as Johnny, let's be honest.
I don't know if most people have probably completed it by now, but
I've not even started it yet. I've got it. I'm looking at it right now, but I've not even started it yet.
Okay, fair enough. I think I'm like a third of the way through, but I'm not entirely sure. But you wouldn't know either way, so
nah.
I'm relatively enjoying that. I don't like the parts where it forces me to play Atreus. At first, I was kind of like, this is kind of cool. It's new. It's different. But they kind of get a bit tedious. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to God of War, and I'm here for Kratos.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with Atreus complementing Kratos' character from a story point of view, but when you force me to play it
It's
multiple times through the game, I'm kind of like, okay, enough. Can I go back to Kratos now?
it's like when Resident Evil 4 made you play as Ashley.
Yeah. But other than that, obviously, it's a great game.
Yeah.
I went back to Apex for my multiplayer fix.
Nice.
Again, a bit like Johnny, it's one of those things where I wish I was better at it, but not being good at it is kind of the driving force to have me keep playing it, and I just can't stop. So it's just hours and hours wasted on Apex. What else did I do? I went back to GT7 to play the two new tracks. There were two new American tracks, Watkins Glen and I can't remember the latest one, just to go through it and how those were shaping up in the new cars that they added. Yeah, so. And I think that's about it. Oh, no, that's a lie. Marvel Snap is my new crack. It has actually taken time away from Apex. The game is so fucking addictive. I was actually critical of it because obviously with these card games, it's usually effectively just the way to get you to spend money, but they've done it decently well, where I've literally not spent a penny.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is you end up having to log in every day to try and get the required resources so you can actually unlock your deck. But yeah, game's crack.
Yeah.
I advise it to anybody.
I really need to get on that. We did a Let's Look Out video of that. Well, you were on that one, weren't you, Johnny, when we did Marvel Snap? And it did pique my interest, but I've installed it and just not touched it yet, because I know exactly as soon as I touch it, it's going to be like, right, I just need to play this now. This is going to be my jam. But yeah, it's not come into my life just yet, but it's sort of teetering on the edge, just waiting to jump in and overtake my existence for a few weeks.
I guarantee you won't be stopping once you start. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it does look. The thing is, I'm going to need all the cards. That's the problem. Is I'm going to need all the cards, not just for the deck. Just I'm going to need the cards. You know, you're going to need to give me the cards game. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that your list of played games?
I believe that is. Yep.
Cool. I mean, I've been kicking it old school as well, because I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn quite a lot recently, mainly because I've got Horizon Forbidden West for Christmas, so I kind of need to get Zero Dawn finished. And I did that fun thing where I went back through my achievements to see sort of which ones I'd got and which ones I need, my trophies, and noticed that the first trophy I unlocked was back in 2017 when the game first came out, so it has taken me a while to actually get round to finishing this game. But yeah, I've been playing that quite a bit. I've been playing a game which we're going to kind of get round to later on, which dropped in the last week as a little bit of a surprise, which is Hi-Fi Rush, which came onto Game Pass last week, which is kind of a third-person action platform rhythm game thing, which I think you'd love, Mr. Martwell, because it's got some very good tunes in, so I'd recommend you get that on Game Pass. It's quite worth a play. But other than that, I've been playing a lot on my Steam Deck as well. I've been playing Titanfall 2, which Ben would be very proud of me about. So kind of a bit Apexy, you know, same universe. That runs weirdly well on Steam Deck. I've got it running at 2K resolution at about 60 frames a second, with most things on high settings. So I have no idea what Respawn have done to that game to make it run so well on low-end hardware. But it's
Source engine, isn't it?
It's crazy. Yeah, so it is Source, isn't it? Yeah.
Pretty easy engine to run.
Well, yeah. Also, it's Valve, isn't it? And I think Valve have pretty much optimized SteamOS for running Source engine games. So, but yeah, and other than that, I've been getting back into The Surge as well on my Steam Deck, which is a bit of a Dark Souls science fiction-y clone thing, which I reviewed a few years back on PS4. Really enjoyed that, but it was like the price of a Starbucks in a recent Steam sale, so I thought, I'll get that and play it again. Why not? I can have it on the go now, so But yeah, so I guess let's get straight into the news, as we do on these things. It's a bit of a dolly downer, I must say, most of the stuff that's going on at the minute within games that we're going to be sort of discussing. Delays. Games have been delayed. This is a thing. This always happens, but it always sort of seems to hit hard every time it does. Jedi Survivor has been moved to April. Either of you planning on picking that up?
Yep, definitely. Yeah. I'm completely fine. I'm at that point in my gaming life where I'm okay with delays.
Yeah.
Like, there's too many games, there's too many things to do. It's
Yeah.
fine. If you want to delay something and it actually becomes a better product, power to you.
Yeah.
I think more developers should stop trying to hit quarters and delay whatever time you need to delay.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think it is a positive thing. You know, sometimes when you get a delay and you get a bit of extra time to work on something. I mean, my career software development, so you know, anytime I get a chance to get a bit of extra coding time just to put a bit of spit and polish on applications, it's always good. But I think the one game that has been delayed again, having had multiple delays, which feels like it may never actually come out, is Skull and Bones, which has been delayed by Ubisoft into next fiscal year. Isn't getting very good feedback from playtesters currently looking at the beta, and I do believe as well has even had pre-orders cancelled on the PlayStation Store. Johnny, Skull and Bones, pirate game, would that tickle your fancy?
It's based off the boat combat in Assassin's Creed, isn't it?
I think it initially was, but I think it's actually recently they've changed it all up, and it's kind of a weird you are the boat almost sort of thing. I think they kind of changed it up so it's not the same. But you are right, initially it was the Black Flag spin-off. But no, I think, it's looking a bit dodgy, that one.
I mean, when was it supposed to come out originally? Like a couple of years ago?
I think so, yeah.
It's been on the agenda for a long time.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if it ever does come out or it just gets canned completely.
Yeah.
Scalebound.
Oh, don't mention Scalebound to me. I really wanted that game. That was one of the games I bought an Xbox for. Sully, do you have any thoughts on Skull and Bones?
It's one of those things where I'm literally about to contradict myself, but it's one of those few instances where once you've had enough setbacks and enough delays, it starts to become, do you know what you're doing with this title? Do you even know the direction you want to have it in? What's the actual up? Is it gameplay? Is it art direction? It seems like there's a problem over there. That's what you don't want. That's the kind of delay you definitely want to kind of avoid.
Yes.
And you definitely don't want your customer base to come to that conclusion. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
And it kind of dies in their eyes and they're not looking forward to it anymore, and all your hype kind of goes away.
It almost feels like you said, Johnny, initially it was a spin-off of Black Flag, and then they kind of got into the whole live service model, and Sea of Thieves came out, and it feels like Sea of Thieves almost stole the thunder from Skull and Bones, and now Ubisoft are just kind of flailing to try and make it something that people won't go, yeah, but Sea of Thieves is better.
They look like they have quite different vibes, don't they? I see it's quite a jokey game.
It is.
I remember Skull and Bones looking quite a serious job.
Yeah.
More like the Pirate Sim rather than Pirate Arcade.
The Pirate Sim. Maybe they need to rename it as that. Sim Pirate.
Pirate Sim, yeah.
Pirate Sim.
I mean, I love the boat combat in Assassin's Creed, but I'm not sure what they've changed to make it different to that now. So I don't know, am I asked?
I think that's the question, isn't it? Am I asked?
If it kind of already exists, though, in like Assassin's Creed, I don't know why they've changed it, though, so I don't know, but it's kind of something we've already got, but it's been delayed so long. I don't know.
Just buy a cheap copy of Black Flag and play that, and only stay in the boat.
Well, all the new Assassin's Creed games have the boat combat in as well, don't
Odyssey does, yeah.
And Valhalla does?
Valhalla's got boat bits in it, but it's not quite got the same sort of combat. I did bounce quite hard off Valhalla. But
I really liked Odyssey. I didn't get Valhalla.
Nah. Anyway, so yeah, Skull and Bones. Will it ever come out? Who can say? Possibly someone at Ubisoft. But moving on from that, we've got a couple of shutdowns as well happening. Rumbleverse is shutting down after 6 months. I have to say, this isn't one I'm familiar with. I don't know if either of you have given it a go. But it looks like it's a battle royale brawler, so it's kind of like, I think, sort of melee-based combat. This was going to be one of the things I think Ben was going to talk about, but as we know, he's otherwise engaged tonight. So I don't know if either of you guys are familiar with Rumbleverse.
I've seen a few streamers play it. It seemed to peak. It was one of those games that everybody was playing at a very small period of time. It seemed kind of out there. It wasn't kind of my jam. But I'm not sure what's happened after 6 months. That's pretty quick. It
is pretty quick. Let's take a look at if there's any further information on this. I've kind of got my my little info pain going on over here. Sorry?
You got your dual screen action.
Dual screen action, yeah.
Morgan Freeman in Batman with all the screens.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yes, that's exactly what it is. I just got like lots of screens going on. It doesn't look like there's really any information as to why it's shutting down, but perhaps it is just the player base had dropped off, but it's going down offline fairly quickly. 28th of February, so players have only got another month to really enjoy it if they the players that have been enjoying it to date. So that's a pretty quick turnaround for an online game like that.
It's a bit rough, isn't it? Yeah. Kind of the casualty of marketing your game in this way, like when you market it as like one of those Twitch, or get streamers to kind of play it and get everybody else hyped about it that way. Yeah. And they move on to the new thing, which they inevitably will do because it's part of being a Twitch streamer. You have to move with the times. Yeah. It's a bit, nobody's playing this anymore, and they start, unless it's a good game and retains people, which I guess this wasn't good enough to do so. Yeah. That's what happens. Yeah,
it is a shame. It's there's almost the argument that perhaps there's an oversaturation of those kind of live service online games, and there's only so many players and with so much time in the day to actually devote to playing them. Obviously Fortnite's still huge. And Overwatch seems to be quite evergreen, despite sort of the amount of controversies that always seem to sort of be going on around it. And obviously we've also got Apex. Say what?
Rocket League as well. That is evergreen.
I've heard that there's this game called Rocket League. I've heard that there's at least one player who's quite religiously playing it all the damn time. At least four. And obviously Apex Legends is still quite a big one. We mentioned that earlier in relation to Titanfall. But EA has cancelled the mobile version of Apex Legends as well as Battlefield Mobile, and has shuttered Industrial Toys, the developer, which was working on Battlefield Mobile. We've seen a lot of closures. We've seen a lot of layoffs, unfortunately, in tech industry at the moment. Do you think that this is maybe a sign that some of the big players are starting to sort of overreach a little bit, and maybe there is this kind of scaling back going on, that there is an oversaturation of games, live service style games?
If I was to guess what's happened there, I think the people in charge of the money have maybe misjudged the markets ever so slightly. In terms of Apex Legends, I can only speak for myself, but this is a game I want to invest time to get better at. It's not something I would ever dream of playing on a mobile. No. I'm sure quite a few people feel the same way. So who are you really targeting that to? It kind of feels like it's just a case of, mobile's popular, people are making money over there, let's just make something for over there and hope it sticks. And I think a lot of these companies are kind of finding out that that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
You have to actually craft a game a la Marvel Snap for that actual device, and then people will come in droves. You can't just lazily port,
Yeah.
I don't know, call it AAA, but esports-oriented titles over to mobile and expect them to flourish.
Mobile gaming's definitely a weird one, really, isn't it? Because, I mean, I remember back when Angry Birds came out as like the big, first sort of like popular mega mobile game, and then obviously all the free-to-play models started kicking in, and games were coming out as that is free, but with gacha sort of mechanics baked into them. And now we seem to be on this, well, mobile gaming, we got to have it replicating the console experience, and it seems to be that maybe systems like the Steam Deck and the Switch are sort of trying to influence people to put games of that caliber on more mobile systems. But it's a phone. It's got a touch screen. It's not got a controller. There's only so much you can do on that. Johnny, do you play games on your phone? And what sort of games would you play? No.
I do not, so none.
No.
I don't really like mobile gaming. I never got into it. I've tried a few times. I've tried a few things, even like with the Mario Run and the Mario Kart, that kind of stuff. But it's just never like... I'm not the sort of person who would like get my phone out in public and play a game.
Yeah.
Like if I was on the bus or whatever. So I just wouldn't do that anyway. And then when I'm at home, I have, the Rocket League machine, the PS5. So I feel like it's not really for me.
What if?
Also, like you say, just not having controls is awkward as well. Like moving, if you're doing like an FPS, like there's like a Call of Duty mobile game, that kind
there
of
was, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're like trying to replicate like that kind of dual stick thing on a screen, it just doesn't work for me. It's finicky and awkward.
What if Rocket League had a mobile version?
That'd be shit because it's far too small. Like it's a real wild game, Rocket League, and like I'd be leaning all over the place as well because I do that when I play because I'm cool. It'd be bad.
You're like a grandma playing Mario Kart, are you?
I do properly like lead. And stuff, I don't do it on Rocket League though.
Yeah. Makes you go faster. Scientifically proven.
Kind of like, I think there is something in doing something different with a franchise for mobile, like Mario Run, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, like you simplify it, so it's not like a Mario game. It's like Mario, but like you tap to jump. It's easy. Anyone can do that. There's probably something in that. Like Angry Birds, like that had its unique thing that wouldn't work on a console, or maybe it would on the Switch, but on a regular console. There's some sort of thing in that kind of uniqueness, but just kind of like just firing out poorer versions of console games on mobiles isn't going to work. I don't think.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. And obviously now we have game streaming coming through on mobile phones as well. So there's the argument that if people want to play big boy games, they'll turn to say Xbox streaming or Nvidia GeForce Now or something like that, rather than actually getting like a lesser version on their mobiles. Obviously, we're talking about ports. There is something that I'm going to drop in here that wasn't actually on the schedule that I shared around to you that I've remembered we should talk about, which is GoldenEye.
Oh, yeah.
GoldenEye's back. It's had a port to...
It back, or I remember there was a mod years ago that they were...
Yeah, did it ever leave? Yeah.
Well, all right. Never really left, but... so it's dropped onto Xbox and Switch. In the last week. So there is a version for Xbox which is available on Game Pass, which has all the full player split screen that you'd expect. It's got 4K graphics. It's got modern FPS controls, and then there's also a version that's dropped onto the N64 app for the Switch, which is basically a ROM dump of the M64 version. So it is exactly as it was on the N64, including the controls. So the Xbox version gets nice, tasty modern controls. The Switch version... Oh, what a state that's in. I tried playing it on my Switch, and it's strafe and look up and down on the right stick, turn and move backwards and forwards on the left stick. It's just... So if you've got an N64 controller for your Switch, all good. The problem that people are finding, and I certainly found this though as well, I tried the Xbox Game Pass version on my Series X. And performance-wise, it's all over the shop. Frame rate, it's stuck to 30 frames a second, but it seems like a really unstable 30 frames a second as well, which the Switch doesn't have. It feels like it's a solid frame rate and it performs better. So it's like, which is the lesser of two evils? Nice controls and a dodgy frame rate, or bad controls and a stable game? Sulley, you look really excited by this news. Were you a GoldenEye player back in the days?
Oh, one of the best games ever made. But obviously the problem was the controls in modern day is just terrible. So I think I would eat up the poor performance for the modern control. I'm going to go check it out once it's my question would be, did they manage to shoehorn any kind of multiplayer in there, or is it just all local?
So the Xbox version has local multiplayer only. The Switch version does have online multiplayer, but only in so much that the Nintendo Switch online app for the N64 games and the SNES and the NES games has this online multiplayer support, where basically you're screen sharing with another device and it's still split screen. So it's online multiplayer, but you're sharing a game session with another player on their Switch. So it's kind of this janky-ass online multiplayer that's only sort of online multiplayer in name only. But it's there,
That's a shame.
Which the Xbox version doesn't get. So it's fairly bare bones. Yeah, Jonny, we'll have to play some GoldenEye, I think, next time we meet up for a Let's Look At recording session. Were you GoldenEye player back in the day?
I think everyone. I didn't have an N64 back in the day, but I think everyone played GoldenEye, didn't they?
You knew a mate who had an N64. I think was always, if you didn't have one yourself, there was a mate who had an N64, and you'd get together to play GoldenEye. But yeah, that's certainly how I played it. Sorry?
Yeah. It was mandatory to play.
Yes, yeah. And it was mandatory to ban Oddjob as well, because he was too small and no one could hit him.
I'm like Sulley. I would rather take the improved controls and the bad frame rate personally, because when you we've got a gaming bar, and when you go to it and play GoldenEye, and it's kind of a real reminder of how difficult FPSs were before Call of Duty did that kind of dual stick thing that now just is standard.
Yeah, there was an interesting article actually on The Guardian earlier, showing my sort of middle classness there, reading The Guardian, that it was by Keza MacDonald, about how 90s games haven't aged particularly well in comparison to the eras, like the 8-bit and the 16-bit eras. Those kind of early PlayStation and N64 games have aged really badly, but we should still look at them for what they gave us as far as sort of modern games are concerned. I think GoldenEye's a standout one in that respect, because GoldenEye kind of set the gold standard for putting a first-person shooter on consoles.
Yeah.
I disagree with that, purely because all you have to do is look at another game on that console that was big, was Mario 64. That's timeless classic. It doesn't look great, but it controls just as well.
It's certain.
The camera's a bit wonky on Mario 64, isn't it? I played it again recently. The camera is not great.
Yeah,
the camera was never great.
No, that is definitely an interesting one. Yeah.
The actual controlling of the character and everything else is superb.
Yeah. I think I think I do agree with you on that one. I think if the camera had been better on that game, it probably would have aged a lot better than it has done. But for pure kind of character movement, I don't think it's really changed that much. The model that they use between that and say Odyssey or something, it's still got the same inertia and feel to it. Did you play it on
3 platformers as well? Use that same.
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie was based, so that was like Rare's offering for 3D platformers, and that was kind of based more on the Donkey Kong style of 3D platforming, wasn't it?
Maybe, I can't really remember that.
Yeah. Go on, you still got a Switch, haven't you?
I got a Switch, yeah.
Yeah, are you on the N64 online app?
No.
Oh, well, you can't go and play those games then in that case, so...
Just Rocket League machine, but portable.
Okay, cool. So you have your portable Rocket League machine?
I do, yeah.
You do? Okay, cool. Excellent. I'm glad. I'm very pleased for you. Are you going to go and drop GoldenEye onto your Xbox after this?
I do, actually.
You should do.
I'm sure I'll play it for like half an hour and think, like, games are better now. But I will probably, give it a go.
You'll play it for half an hour and then go and play Rocket League.
But you find, like, maybe it's just me, but I just feel like gaming is a medium that kind of just inherently is better with age. And then, I know we talk about that piece in The Guardian and stuff, but like generally, like, anything that was made more recently is probably going to be better than something that was made 20 years ago.
Well, yeah.
Because it's technology based, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I think certain games age better than others, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Tetris this time, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, talking about modern games, that was a terrible segue. That's worse than one of Ben's segues, that was. There is a lovely little collection on the PlayStation 5 that PlayStation Plus subscribers had access to if they bought a PlayStation 5, which is the PlayStation Plus collection, which is a collection of popular games from PlayStation Plus, which were made available to people purchasing a PlayStation 5. So some of the games that were available, so it was Black Ops 2, Call of Duty, Battlefield 1, Days Gone, God of War 2018, Crash Insane Trilogy, Ratchet and Clank, Monster Hunter World, which is a fantastic game. Fired.
What did I play? Which one did I play?
I think you played the demo of Monster Hunter Rise. It's not your game.
Like that?
World and Rise are very similar, but this is not a place to start arguing, because Sully, I know you're a Monster Hunter guy, aren't you?
If you didn't like Rise,
yeah,
you're not going to like any other Monster Hunter game.
Yeah.
Because they all get more
Monster Hunter.
Monstery.
Rise is the most, Rise is the most accessible of them.
Yeah. But anyway, it's 20 games that were available with PS Plus on PS5. But if you haven't added them to your game library, you need to go and do that now, because they are going to be removed from the PlayStation Plus. The whole library is going to be removed on May the 9th of this year. So Sony giveth, Sony taketh away. But it's been it's been a few years since that was introduced. Maybe now PS5s are more available. Sony have decided, hang about, this is a lot of value. Let's make sure that early adopters are the ones that are benefiting from this, and not new people who are coming in and picking up a PS5 now. Johnny, you got a PS5.
The Rocket League machine.
The Rocket League machine. Do you have any of the other games on there from this collection?
Are they Rocket League though?
Jonathan, please stop.
I think when I got my PS5, I did download a couple. I think I had the original God of War. Well, not original, 2018 God of War. And I think I played a couple of the Uncharted games that are on there as well. Yeah. Is the Uncharted 4 on it?
Maybe.
I think I played that. Yeah. That was my interaction with the PS Plus collection.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, cool. Sully, are you a PlayStation owner? Yeah. And did you make use of the collection? Oh,
I mean, a lot of them I'd already played. But that didn't stop me from adding them all to my list. I mean, what are you doing if you've got a PS5 and you're not adding all these? Just
absolutely
redeem them all, and you never know, in the future you might want to go back to them. So
yeah, no, I agree. That's what I always sort of think when you get the games with gold and the PS Plus titles, is it's just I'll bang them on the list. It's like the freebies from Epic Games on PC. It's like I'll just stick them on my account. I might play them. Who can say?
If you were to download these PS Plus collection games, though, would they only be there available as long as you had a PS Plus membership?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not like, it's the same with any other PS Plus game. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how these things work. So moving on from Sony and PlayStation, though, to Xbox. Xbox had a developer direct last week, where we got some juicy morsels of information about some upcoming Xbox games, because let's be honest, they need to be coming. Xbox is woefully lacking in first-party titles at the moment, and we do need to see some big names dropping on there. There's one notable omission, but we knew about that going into the event, and we know that there's a big event coming up for that later in the year, which is Starfield, which I have to say I wasn't that interested in it, but when they showed it off at E3 last year, I think it was, I was like, yeah, do you know what, I think I might get behind this when it comes out, give it a try. You know, it's got that kind of Elder Scrolls in space vibe, but the games that we did have demonstrated at the Developer Direct, we have Minecraft Legends, which is coming out April 18th, which I think is almost like a real-time strategy sort of adventure style game, I think, in the Minecraft universe. That's more my kids' thing. I'll let them enjoy that. We had Redfall, which is coming out May 2nd, which looks really interesting. It's kind of a semi-open world vampire multiplayer thing, I believe. June sees the next expansion for Elder Scrolls Online, which is called Necrom. Not really my thing again. And the other big thing, which is coming out at some point this year, is Forza Motorsport, which of course is, you know, the first Forza Motorsport for several years that isn't a Horizon game. And as I mentioned earlier, we got Hi-Fi Rush announced and released on the same day to Game Pass, which I think was a really nice thing to do. You know, I'd like to see more games get released like that, just like, oh, here's our new game and you can play it now. There you go. No build up. Yeah, no build up. Just announce and drop. It's all good. So yeah, anything on that list tantalising either of your guys' attention for playing later this year?
Well, you told me to play Hi-Fi Rush before, haven't you?
Yeah.
What's the vibe of Hi-Fi Rush? It sounds like an A song.
So it does sound like an A song. Well, they did it. The Hi-Fi Series was an album by A, wasn't it? So yeah.
And they like Rush as well. So yeah.
What, the rock band Rush?
Yeah, they love Rush, don't they?
Do they love Rush? Okay, this is a conversation that we shouldn't have in this podcast. This is a music podcast conversation. So Hi-Fi Rush is basically, it's like a third-person platform action game with cel-shaded graphics, where the entire world moves to the beat of a song that's playing. So the idea is your character has gone for a job at this evil corporation, and something accidental happens, and they get their iPod fused with their body, and all of a sudden they can move to the beat of their iPod, and combat's like sort of melee style. It's basically God of War style. You know, you've got aerial attacks, you've got you can knock enemies into the air and do follow-up attacks, and you can learn combos. It's surprisingly in-depth. When I saw the initial announcement, I was like, this is going to be like some throwaway music game, but it's actually really in-depth. It's got a fairly decent story. It looks really nice, and it's got some good songs in it. I beat the hell out of a robot to the tune of 1 Million by Nine Inch Nails the other night, so you know, you can't complain at that.
Yeah.
So
I've tried a few rhythm games before like that. There's a Necromancer.
Yeah.
And what's the one that we played with Ben?
Soundfall.
Yeah.
Soundfall. So it's kind of like Soundfall, but it's more forgiving. As in, you know, you attack on the beat, you get extra points and you do extra damage. Whereas with Soundfall, I felt that it penalised you quite a lot if you missed the beat. And I think that Hi-Fi Rush does it a lot better. Sulley, anything on that Xbox list that's going to get you excited for the next few months?
The only thing I tuned in for was Forza Motorsport, but unfortunately they didn't give much information on it. It's like they keep banging on about how much of a sim it is and how much they love esports and blah 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 blah, but there's very few thin details about what that actually entails, which, as you can imagine, the people who are in the sim community are actually up in arms about. And so it's like, if you're gonna appeal to that audience, give us the information. Otherwise, stop appealing to us, so we can get on with our day.
Yeah, I can't.
Redfall looks interesting.
Yeah,
but go on.
Oh, it's okay. We've got a bit of an audio delay going, by the way. You seem to be really out of sync with me and Johnny on the audio track, so I'm going to try and sort of leave a gap between talking from now on. But carry on, Redfall.
Redfall looks interesting, but again, another game that it seems like one of those games that when it comes out, everybody will jump on it. It'll be really fun at the beginning, but it will kind of die off really quickly. So I'm just waiting for more information on that.
Yeah, I mean, Redfall kind of gives me Left 4 Dead vibes, and I was never really a big Left 4 Dead player. I have it on Steam, and I don't know, it's just one of those games that intrigued me, but like the idea of actually getting 4 people together was always a bit of a hindrance when that kind of game came out, because it was when my kids were quite young and I didn't really have any friends to play with, so sad times.
You had kids, so you had people to play games with.
Well, yeah. I mean, you joke. One of the things that we did say was 2 kids, 4 controllers. Back in the day before online gaming was a big thing, it was like, yeah, we've got a full Mario Party game.
Yeah.
So,
maybe not Left 4 Dead.
Sorry?
Maybe not Left 4 Dead at that age.
Maybe not Left 4 Dead at that age. No. Maybe now. You know, they're a lot older. They might be up for Left 4 Dead now. So I'll see what they fancy. It's mainly Overwatch now that I play with them anyway. So Starfield. Any takers for that?
Yeah, definitely interested. Another game. We need more information. Give me this presentation when it's coming. Give us all the juicy bits. I'm there for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just waiting patiently, like everybody else.
Yeah, it does look quite tasty. I'm guessing it's not really your thing, Johnny, because it's a big RPG with lots of numbers and stats.
Yeah, I'm kind of wary of really big games like that because I have quite a short attention span. So I kind of tend to, like Rocket League, like 5-minute games, brilliant, I can do that. But like, you know, like 50 hours, I've gone by that point.
Yeah, it's like, can I kick the ball into? Can I smack the ball into the goal with my car? No, okay, not interested. Yeah. But yeah, so obviously Xbox Developer Direct, some good titles announced. It was fairly brief. I think that was a good thing. You know, it kept it succinct. Rumours abound that we might be getting a Nintendo Direct soon, so who knows? Be nice to see a bit more information, especially now that Tears of the Kingdom, I think they said today, is 100 days away. Give me that Zelda, please. I want that in my life.
One game I'm very interested in that isn't Rocket League is the new Zelda, yeah.
Which is also like 1 million hours long, so, you know.
Yeah, but I really haven't Breath of the Wild. I know I'll commit to that.
Fair enough.
Zelda's like, it's not too RPG, is it? It's kind of like, it's big, like world-wise, but it's not like you don't have to have a degree to understand what's happening.
You watch as this one drops and they've taken influence off Elden Ring and it's basically Zelda does Dark Souls now. Everyone just goes, rah!
I'd be very sad if that was the case. I hope it's still, it's kind of got a good balance. It's not too complicated, Zelda. Like, you don't have to, really commit to thinking about it. It's just kind of like, hit stuff with sword, solve puzzle.
Yeah.
Horse, next you.
Yeah. I loved Breath of the Wild, but I have to say, in hindsight, I would like Tears of the Kingdom to have a better dungeon structure than Breath of the Wild.
Why?
So this is what I was going to say. It's quite interesting to see that the way I view that game is quite different to the way Johnny views that game, and he's able to get on with it because of the things that I actually despise about it, which is how open and empty it is for a Zelda game. There's nothing in it. It's a few puzzles here, a few puzzles here, a few puzzles here, and there's no gel really to bring it together. And it had to be done that way because they wanted it to be completely free form. You could do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted. But for me, I was like, oh, is this really a Zelda game? But it was so popular that what can I do? Like, everybody loved that style, so that's what they're going to go with.
Yeah, I kind of sit somewhere in between. I I didn't hate Breath of the Wild. I loved it for what it was. But as someone who's played every single other Zelda game, I really wanted those intricate, interconnected dungeons that just had those puzzles. But like Johnny said, it was just a chill game as well, though, Breath of the Wild. It was like, when I had that, I was making a lot of bus journeys to and from work, back from when we actually worked in offices, and met people on a day-to-day basis. And it was quite nice, actually, to just jump on a bus and just run around Hyrule for a bit on my Switch while I travelled home. But yeah, interested to see where Tears of the Kingdom goes. Hopefully we'll get a bit more information out of Nintendo soon. 100 days from the recording of this podcast. So yeah, very exciting times. We'll wrap up now, but we'll leave with a few final thoughts on what's coming out on Xbox Live and PS Plus for the next month. So this is February 2023. Obviously, we still get games offered in these services, even though they have their own cornucopia of buffet of game offerings, depending on what tier of PS Plus you are and how you approach your Game Pass subscription. But for Xbox Live in February 2023, we have For the King and Guts and Goals, and I have to say I have no idea what either of those games are, and they do not interest me in the slightest. So if anyone else has got any more enlightening information on those, please speak up.
Did you say Guts and Goals?
Guts and Goals. Guts and Goals.
Goals like football goals.
Well, I don't know. Do you need me to find out?
No, how's it spelled? It's not ghouls like ghosts, right? Or it's not like girls. It's goals.
Guts. Was it Guts and Goals or is it Guts and Glory? Guts and Goals.
It's Guts and Goals.
Guts and Goals.
It does look like it takes part on some kind of pitch.
It's like a cartoon football game.
Maybe
yeah.
Maybe.
Did you say Speedball?
Sorry?
Did you say Speedball, Sully?
No, I said some kind of beach ball.
Beach ball.
It's very, very large.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks, I don't know, it looks like a kind of throwaway sort of title that could be good fun. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest, the Xbox Live games are kind of getting to the stage where they're just a bit of a nothing at the minute these days, aren't they? They're kind of just there to justify the service to some degree. But PS Plus is actually quite a tasty selection for February 2023. We get Destiny 2's Beyond Light expansion. So Nico, if he doesn't already own that on PlayStation, which I'd be surprised if he doesn't, will be a little bit excited to be able to play Destiny 2's Beyond Light on another platform, especially now that Stadia's gone out the window. We've got Evil Dead the game, which I never played, but it looked interesting. We've got Ollie Ollie World, Johnny. Ollie Ollie World. That's a game that's not Rocket League that you've played and you really liked, didn't you?
I gave it 10 out of 10.
You did give it 10 out of 10. It's a great game.
Really good.
Yeah, it's a lovely game. I picked that up on my Steam Deck a few weeks back. I've not really been playing it, but it is a lovely game. And we also get Mafia Definitive Edition, which I've never played a Mafia game beyond like a few minutes, but yeah, it looks interesting. I'll give it a go. I would give it a try. So, I mean, thoughts on like the sort of the free offerings from these services these days? You know, obviously Xbox seems to be a bit paltry these days, but you know, what about the PS Plus titles?
They look really good to me. Destiny 2, big game. I'm not personally interested in going back to it, but it is a polished, a more polished version of the original. So it's worth a try, even if you just want to go through the main story missions, which is basically what I did. Evil Dead, never played it. Ollie Ollie World looks interesting. It was never a game I would pay money for, but if you're going to give it to me free, I'll definitely play it. And Mafia is literally one of my favorite games of all time. I remember playing it on the PC when it came out, and it's a game that its selling point was like they've individually like modeled the eyeballs So it was like one of the first games where the characters actually properly looked at where they were actually talking and stuff, which came with all its weird glitches where eyeballs were popping out of
amazing
character models' heads and stuff like that. But again, one of my favorite games of all time. So yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's been a game series that I've been meaning to kind of try out for a while. That and Yakuza are sort of like the two big open world GTA alternatives that I've always been keen to try out, but have never felt like I properly had the time to actually sink into them. Maybe I will. Now it's on PlayStation 4, and I've got my PlayStation Plus, and I've got my little setup in my office now, so that I can actually kind of chill out and play some games here. I might install it up here and give it a go and see what it's like. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'm interested in. Well, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for spending some time with us this evening, guys, on the podcast. I think you'll be interested as to just how far your audio's drifted out, Sulley, because it's just like, ooh, big gap.
Yeah, I can feel it.
I
can feel the huge gap between when I finish and when you start.
I was going to say, you probably got it from the other end, from what we have. When you finish, it takes a while for us to start. But yeah, obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz that we like you to do, because it helps us grow as a channel. Tell your friends about us. Come and watch more of our videos when they drop. And obviously, if you're listening to this as audio on a podcast, come see us on YouTube, because we've got videos and stuff over there, and you get to see Jonny playing games and things like that. You do, yeah. We need to go and record some stuff. And we've got some VR to check out as well, and talk about as well. But yeah. Again, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to make this a more regular thing now. We're going to schedule this in for a proper 2-week podcast. If we can get it any sooner, we'll try, but definitely a 2-weeker. So, moving forward in 2023, we're going to be a bit more regular with these things, and maybe shake up the format. Who can say? We just need to talk about it, I think. But yeah, thanks very much again, Jonny. People might be listening to this. They're not going to see you saluting.
Oh, I saluted.
You saluted. Goodbye, Jonny. And thank you very much, Sulley, for joining us. It's been lovely to spend some time with you again, as always.
Always a good time. Always a good time.
Yeah. And hope.
And waiting for it.
Yeah.
It's literally like this. I finish talking and it's like... And
of course, the thing is, you can just say something. You can pretend you're talking, and is there a delay? Who can say? Hopefully that'll be a bit more fixed up next time. But yeah, again, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next Next Gen Basecast. Bye for now.
Goodbye.